Fast Track Money YouTube live session. And as usual, I'm Yasi, creator behind Fast Track. We're a podcast content platform. You can find anything about entrepreneurship, money, and career on fasttrack.live. And my co-host is Matt from Financial Imagineer. He hit financial independence, or we call it financial freedom, before age of 37. So there on his blog, Financial Imagineer, he shares all his personal experiences, insights, and even knowledge, helping you to imagineer your life financially. So using money as a tool. And together we are the money coach of Fast Track Money with Financial Imagineer, where you can find it on fasttrack.live/money course. There we packed all the knowledge that Matthias has accumulated in the last, I would say, like more than 20 years, that, and also the proven method that he has implemented, and also I implemented myself, that to transform our financial lives. So that knowledge we pack it in a 6-week money course. There you can learn it step by step, take it and use it, and then see results yourself. So in early November, we are going to have one English group and one German group, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. And if you are not interested or not ready to transform your life, financial life with this course, you can still watch our content every single Wednesday. We talk about money, investment, various topics in this area. And today, our topic is about what you should do, how to accumulate wealth in your 20s. So Matthias, you are in your 40s. You have been there. You have a lot to share today. And me, I'm in my 30s. Also looking back, I have lots of regrets, but there's nothing else I would have changed. But still, if I have known what I know right now, back then, maybe it would be very different. So if you are in your 20s, it's a great time to take action, learn the knowledge. If you are 30s, 40s, still not too late. So let's get started. So I'm handing over to you, Matt.
So thank you for the introduction and the warm up. So some people say when is the best time to get started investing? And of course, you could say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? So, and the second best day to get started with investing is right now. It's today. And why we want to cover the 20s, I think it's very simple. Of course, you can learn it as a kid and so on, but the 20s is the time in your life where a personality manifests itself. That means between age 20 and 30, most people will settle down their personality, their habits, their way of thinking. They will become adults that are settled. And a majority of all people will never change anymore too much after that. So, and this is why it's so crucial to use your 20s if you want to be actively in charge of what you want to achieve in your life, the outcome of your life, to do something financially as well. You can steer it, right? And once you get started, it's like building habits. It's so hard to change. So if there's nothing more convenient than if you do it right in your 20s and you stick to it, and then it's on autopilot for life. That's maybe the first thing. Second thing, maybe it's lots of energy you have the time on your side. And last but not least, I really like this other saying that's, if you want to play Monopoly or you get started to play a game, any game, I use Monopoly on purpose here, would you start playing it without knowing the rules, right? And most people go about life like that. They don't really know the rules, or the rules in this case is like, what can you do and what should you do? And most people live life by try and fail. So they start in their 20s, suddenly they get paid, but they kind of simply don't understand the rules. How do I connect that with Monopoly? It's simple. If you keep going over start, that's when you get your monthly paycheck. But imagine now you would just go stumble across the field round by round by round without investing anything. That's playing Monopoly without knowing how to win the game, right? So that's this analogy. And I think now, so building wealth in your 20s today, we want to talk about, now we covered like why it's important, why you should do it, and now maybe how to do it and what to do. So what did you do in your 20s, Yasi?
That's a very good question. So actually in my 20s, I've told this story so many times. In my 20s, I was like probably many other people who are educated in university, I worked in big company, and I traveled quite a lot, really a lot. I mean, like every other weekend, I would go somewhere
Mm,
for a hike or for island trip, because I was living in Singapore. So from Singapore, you can literally fly to a lot of places within 1 hour, 2 hours. So basically, in my 20s, I used my income for traveling and exploring the world, and also for further education later on for the master degree, also in other countries. It's all about accumulating experiences, and also I spend a lot on learning different stuff, new skills. So I would
mm,
say in my 20s, I was literally investing in experiences and investing in new skills in myself, because at that time I was like trained, my brain was trained in a way that in order to achieve wealth, I have to earn a lot. So,
mhm.
but now I think slightly different. Yeah.
I think earning a lot, or like having the skill set, that's another reason why you should start to cultivate, I say it like that, your habits and your actions. It's not just investing that can compound. If you understand the compounding rate, like you have something invested, then you get interest, and then the interest of the interest will have interest, and so forth. I believe the same thing applies to your skills, your network, the people you know, the things you know. The more you explore, the more you actually will find stuff that will help you anyway. So I would say it's not, it's not just money that is important. I think exploring and working on your skills. If you have a high income, it's a super good thing to have, because the other part of the equation is usually easier. You just need to not consume too much and put some stuff away, like some money away. For financial independence, there's the thought, some people believe you need to have a lot of money to make to achieve financial independence, but it's not necessarily true. It's just a matter of the percentage of how much of your income you can keep, and therefore controlling your expenses is the other side of the coin. But if you
Yeah.
earn more, it will be easier to do the latter, because earning more, the upside is uncapped, and saving more, you can only save as much as you earn, right? So there you have a limit, it's capped.
Yeah.
So great.
I think I did, as you mentioned, the formula. I think I did one side correct.
Mhm.
I was not paying too much attention on the other side, the saving
Mm,
side. But looking back, I think because I also focused a lot on investing in myself, experiences, and my own education, and also focused on earning, in a way that it helped me. Even now I'm in my 30s, to focus on the other side. I have kind of accumulated the experiences, the skills that I have in my 20s, so I
mm.
can kind of how say fast track
Yes.
the results from the formula. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Also, like there's some things you can do while I think retaining like your from consumption, not taking part in this consumer society is not always easy. I call it, or we call it, keeping up with the Joneses. That's if you made it, you have your good university education, you join a company, and everybody around you earns a lot of money. It's so easy to just go along with the flow, right? You're one of them now. You've earned it. You made it. You deserve it, right? And therefore, if you are trying to be different there and try to say, oh, I'm not joining the drinks, I'm not going for this vacation, I'm not doing this or that, you will be different, right? Therefore, that point I want to make here is you have to be different if you want to have results that are different from average. That's number one, right? So you have to do something different than the majority. If you do what they do, you will get what they get. You will get average. You will get what everyone gets, right? So
Yeah.
that's the tough part there.
Actually, what's tricky is for people in their 20s, at least I speak for myself and,
Mhm.
for example, my classmates, my peers. What is difficult for us in our 20s is because we got out of college, we started earning, earning good money from big companies. Suddenly we are so eager to have that feeling of success, and
Mm.
how to prove that you made it, how to
Mhm.
prove that you are successful now, is
Yeah.
by uh, yeah, it's by owning some kind of like a material stuff,
Mm.
in a way, or kind of lifestyle. So lifestyle and things, possessions. That's the that's the falling into the trap and then keeping up with the
Correct.
Johnsons. And
Yes.
you know how expensive it is to own a car in Singapore, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, don't get me started on that. Well, it's not just the car; it's also the condo and all these things, right?
Yes, yes.
But
So I
there.
have classmates who like
Mhm,
in their 20s they bought cars, they bought
mhm,
condos, of course with the help of the families, but
mhm.
still there are, MRT public transportation is super amazing. Even taking taxi every day is cheaper than owning a car.
Yes.
And there's
Yes.
like HDB government housing is like 1/3 of the price or even 1/5 of the price now compared to a
Mm,
commercial condo. That is really um yeah, I would just say also I would just say just lack of awareness, like lack
yeah.
of knowledge of how money works and
Hmm.
how building wealth works. Just focus so much on one side of the equation, like earning, keep earning, working harder, getting the next promotion.
Mm,
But if I look back, like I would focus also on the other side of the equation about the spending. Yeah.
mm. Well, the spending also, I'm thinking a lot about recently, like how to turn your largest expenses into kind of income streams. That's something I try to challenge myself at the moment. It's highly interesting, and of course, you can start if you are young. You don't need your 4-bedroom apartment when you are in your 20s, right? But if you find one that is great and you can afford it, you could do house hacking, for instance. You could rent out a room or two. If you want to have a car, you could share it with someone else. You could rent it out. You can do Uber kind of or Grab in Singapore, like rides, shares, and so on. You can make the things work for you as well, partially, not fully, but partially. So there could be some shortcuts that you can do. But I believe the fundament of understanding why it's important is to take care of your money when you're young. When you are
Yeah.
young, you have so much time in front of you. We
Yes.
all don't know how much time we have, so we seem to have so much time in front of us. So time seems to be infinite. So it seems to be very available. So it's not expensive. So we are all very eager to sell our time to get money. But the older you get, that's the problem then, the lesser time you have. And at one point you will realize, oh my gosh, my a friend has some issues with health, some other friend passes away. Shit happens. We all don't know how many days we have left. So I also think just saving all the way through, it's also not the ideal way. You should find a good balance, but try to figure out a way that you can make yourself more redundant from selling your time. Like that the wealth setup is something that you set up that it just works by itself, no matter whether you are there or not. That's the ideal
Mm,
point, right? It's like a retirement plan, so to
yeah.
say. And the earlier you start to do that, and the better you will get at doing it, the more you will find out how to do it for yourself, because people have different like skills, priorities, or passions that they can use. So there's different ways how to set up this kind of system. And you will be there earlier. And at one point, you can decide what to do with your life. It's
Yeah,
like
talking
getting your.
about that, I think there's a great chart. You can maybe you can blow that out later from the website,
Mm-hmm.
the human capital, financial capital. Let's just show it once again.
Mm-hmm.
So while you are looking for that chart, so it's on the fast track live/money course that we have that chart on the main page. That's why it links back to today's topic about how to accumulate wealth in your 20s. Why we focus so much now, if in your 20s you have to start taking actions right now,
Mm.
because number one is if you don't take actions right now, time pass by, and the time actually is your friend if you know how to use money, invest it, and time will compound for you. And then but in your 20s, the $1 in your 20s, actually if you want to get the same return in the future, you need to have maybe $5 in your late 30s or 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
So basically, when you're early, you don't need that much to start with. But in order to achieve the same amount at the end, when you are 50s, it's much smaller when you start in your 20s than when you start in
Mm.
your 40s. So I think it's quite a pity that we don't learn that in school. We learn the power of compound, but we don't learn how the power of compound actually have implication on our own financial life and our own financial future from our education system. So
I think
if you have this
there's
chart.
many things. I do. There's many things in life that are the human brain is not made to understand compounding. It could be from accumulating your wealth in ETFs or stock market, or the other thing is inflation is also such a construct. People merely feel the 2 to 3% now, right? But you, after 10 years, you will say, oh my gosh, what happened to the prices here or there? So it's very interesting how this happens, or how it impacts actually our life. So let's get to this chart. I think it's a very, very important chart. It's a little bit small here, but basically I try to show it here. On the left side, you see this green part. That's your human capital. The human capital means you as a professional, you as a person. If you sell your time, your skills, your whatever, that's your profession. If you are young, your potential is full, right? You can sell a lot of time and you can learn more skills, yada, yada. And on the other side, you see this dollar sign there. That should be your financial capital. And if you actually do not start to build this up, you will infinitely have to work your ass off. Sorry, my French. To keep it going, right? You cannot retreat yourself or take yourself out. However, the older you get, you will feel, like I mentioned before, your time is getting more valuable versus just for selling it. You will feel less and less happy about that. And also, you have lesser time to let compounding help you to build your financial capital. So it's a double whammy in a weird way. And if you get started early, you do this very disciplined, it will be a self-runner after a while, and then you can retreat. So in a weird way, it's nothing else than just going after kind of your retirement planning, just at an earlier age. And if you do that right,
but this I have to highlight that for anyone who is watching that chart early on, that is how you do it right. Then you see your financial capital is building up when you do it right.
Yes,
If you
yes,
don't
yes,
do
yes.
it now, if you don't take action now at earlier age, you will not have this this S chart, going up. You will have it flat or even
Oh,
close
well,
to
yeah.
zero. Yeah.
There's lots of ways. Like investing is not speculating, is not trading. There's many ways what you can do with buying and selling stuff, right? There is also the part of leverage. If you do real estate, if you do more real estate, if you do too much, if something happens, you may lose everything. So the way how to get there's many things you can do smartly, but there's also some traps on the way. If you don't be careful enough, they could bite you. And very weirdly, I have to say, most often the thing that holds us back the most is probably ourselves. It's like if the stock market crashes, some people will panic, they will sell everything at the worst point, and they will never think of buying back. I have heard that so often. Oh yeah, if the market is cooling off again, I will buy again. I will get back into the market. And then, of course, what happens is the market cools off, rebounds even higher. And people will then think, oh my gosh, I missed it. I'm waiting for the next dip. And there you go. You might wait another 2 to 3 years. And that's like trying to time the market over timing the market. Timing the market versus time in the market. So there's a lot of things that you can do wrong if you're not ready for that. And again, it's worth it to learn the rules. Sorry.
Yeah. Another story similar to what you told is recently I was checking the investing forum, and then people are talking about a fund, a mutual fund. And then one guy just commented like, this fund is bad. I invested in a month and I lost a couple of hundred. And and again, when we talk about investing, we are looking at long-time horizon. It's time in the market. It's not about, time in the market, buy, sell, and trade. So therefore, when the guy said, okay, the fund is not good, in 1 month I lost several hundred, this is absolutely normal. But if you look at S&P 500, if you look at all the countrywide index, if the economy is growing, once you are in the market invested, your assets will keep growing with time. So again, it comes with time, right? But if you enter in later in life, you will not have this trajectory, the chart, because you don't have enough time anymore. When you are there, 50s, you might looking for your, retirement in your 60s. So you have 10 years. 10 years is not enough unless you need to have a big chunk of capital to start with. If you start in your 20s, you just need a little bit. But then if you let time do it, the thing for you, and then when you are 40s, 50s, then you still have a big chunk of capitals waiting for you.
Yeah, correct. I mean, some people, they look at it very short-term based, and with this in and out, or trying to be better and trying or being afraid. I mean, the easiest thing is if you see, stupid example, right? You see something in the supermarket that is 50% off. You will not scream and run away. You will be happy that you see a discount, right? So if you are very young, if you're in your 20s and the market is crashing, this is probably the very single best thing that can happen to you. And of course, you have to see, is the system crashing and so on. That's usually these fears. But that's the moment where you should buy, and you should buy a lot. That's when you get it like 50 cents to the dollar, so to say. You get it at discount.
To address another misconceptions, imagine if in your 20s, right, you think about, oh, I'm going to save and invest, and I can only use the money when I'm 50s, 60s, 70s. What's the point of living my life? What's the point of all this 20, 30 years? But that's not true. It's not like one or the other.
Correct.
There are also, for example, Matthias, before you also mentioned some income type of funds, passive income that if you desire to retire early, if you desire to live, I don't know, if you just work part-time and you don't need a full-time job, you can build up your investment in a way to generate monthly passive income to retire yourself, so you don't have to wait in the future, right? You can design whatever way you want.
And you can also like partially reduce your workload at one point. Let's say if you have some financial assets and you're sufficiently professional with it, you know what's going to happen, and you can count on that and understand that enough, you probably can reduce your workload. Instead of working your high stress job, in our blogger world, we call it the barista fire. It means nothing else than you can actually retire to becoming a barista. So you do something, but you do something that earns you less. It could be a way, if you still say, yes, I want to sell some of my time in a low stress, low pay or lower pay job. It doesn't have to be barista, of course. It could be something that you're passionate about. Maybe you are passionate about barista, right? But it could be anything that you're passionate about. And if your main job would earn you 100, but you still get 70 to doing something else, you may even reach higher levels again after. But you could actually take a step back and kind of swing the whole thing in your way, instead of chasing the apparently low-hanging carrots in your corporate field that your bosses are trying to kind of catch you with KPIs and tell you will get a year-end bonus if you do ABC. You can try to see if you can actually hang your own carrots for yourself.
But there are, I want to add on this, but it's not that you have to design a way to take a part-time job to become barista. The point here is that you have options.
Yes.
You can either still, nothing has changed. You work as in the past, you 100% on your job, but now you have additional passive income from your investment that you have built on from early on. When you're early age, that you can choose what you want to do with your time. You can choose to work 100%. It's okay, but now you have more income, and you can choose, or you have the options to travel more. To do more exciting stuff, to have personal coach, to have trainer, to have invest in yourself. So I think the point here is like you have options to choose what to do with your time, and you have options to choose how to live a life.
Yeah, I mean, point of like investing in a diversified vehicle. If we talk about funds, I think a lot of people get the concept. Why should I diversify? Why shouldn't I just put everything on one stock? It's like in the casino, right? I don't want to put investments right next to gambling, but if you say I want to put everything on the black horse there and the black horse loses, then bad luck, right? And the funny thing is, a lot of people understand why diversifying your financial assets is important. However, very few people are aware that you should also think of diversifying your source of income. Right? In Switzerland, we have the three-pillar system for your retirement plan. You have three different pillars of income that you can build up. So if one of them fails, you have two others that are there for you. But most people, they do not think of this before they get retired. But if you do that in your 20s and you start to build, like you said, passive income flows from a fund, from real estate, from this, from that, after a while, this will be like more than three pillars. It could be 4 or 5 pillars, and it will hold you. It will hold you, right? And if one of them fails, it wouldn't hurt you too much because you're diversified, not just with the financial assets, but with your sources of income.
Yeah, this is also another misconception I want to address, that sometimes when I talk to friends, they are doing their planning of the future based on the assumption that both like the wife and husband are earning full-time 100%. And this, me personally, I would just say it's a really huge risk, but I know a lot of people might think if you have a stable job in a big company, you will have a job forever. But
Oh yeah.
I see it's a huge risk.
Nothing is forever, and big companies sometimes retrench, they change the strategy, they got bought over by other companies, right? The best thing is to know your skills, know your worth, know your value, right? And figure out a way how to have more options in life, like you said before. Also,
Actually,
having this kind of setup, it also makes it easier for you to maybe take a risk in life. That's also a beautiful thing about it.
Actually, on behalf of the audience, I think this question should be asked at the beginning of this video. So I think they would be curious, like, what did you do in your 20s that helped you achieve financial freedom in your 30s?
Yes. There could be so many potential answers. But yeah, if you have any inputs here on YouTube and Facebook, please hit the comment section, write something to us. Also, if you have any question about anything we could help you with now.
Is my line breaking?
No, you're perfectly
Oh, okay.
fine.
I asked you a question. Maybe you didn't hear it. Your question, my question is on behalf of the audience, that what did you do in your 20s that helped you to achieve financial freedom in your 30s?
Okay, sorry. I didn't get that. Okay, so what did I do? I built my financial capital up. I had some kind of fund, regular investment plans, you can call it, like every month put some money into investments. We started to buy real estate in our 20s. Strategically, we bought it with debt, and we actually reduced the debt over time, and we rented units, we rented like rooms out to other people. So we tried to figure out the whole thing there, how to make this as a system, a wealth building system, right? And then also I maxed out all my retirement accounts whenever I had the options, figured out how to take or utilize money in them. Some retirement accounts, they do not have a very attractive yield or interest in them. So if you have a chance to take out something or take more risk sounds bad in this way, or you have more potential, if you have such a long time frame, if you're in your 20s, your potential investment horizon is, just take that, it's like 40 something years. There's a lot of things is going to happen in 40 years. So you have a lot of time, and with that, if you do it right and just have your interest rate at like 1 or 2%, as some investment solutions do it for pension fund setups, you should be thinking of alternatives. If you just double that to 4 to 5% and compound that for 40 years, it could be worlds, millions, yeah, literally, right? It's just we have played around with these calculators before. Yeah. Just do that. You will be surprised. And if you just steam and like let it roll your life, keep going as you do, maybe at one point you will be 50 years old and you will regret not doing something differently. So that's another thing, regret. You could regret not doing that now a lot later on.
And then how did you manage to do it, achieve like financial freedom in your 30s? Like, what did you do to fast track your process in
Okay,
using the investment or
one thing was
lifestyle?
I also went for higher income, of course. That's one thing. Then I tried to lower my expenses strategically, not go after lifestyle inflation too much. We did a lot of hacking, like travel hacking with miles on credit cards for the family. We did house hacking, so to say. All these things, we tried it, and we kind of usually track, just to get into that, track your net worth. It's like a financial GPS. You have to know where do you stand, where you want to go. And if you look at it, I never had like a very tight budget. I didn't give myself a budget, but if you know more or less where your money comes from and where it goes, you have to know that, right? Then you can actually see, can you change it? Can you get more? Can you spend less? And can you have more free cash flow to your own goals? Which is actually the difference between what you make and what you spend. So what I did is I put this to work in financial investments, real estate, and retirement accounts to optimize your taxes, to say that thing. Also understand your tax code. Each country, sometimes in Switzerland, each village, in other places, each province may have different rules. Understand these rules, know where you stand, know what you could do to optimize it. And don't just do it like, oh, this is, I'm too tired for that, I don't have time. This could be, saying to that, I don't have time, could be a $10,000 per year mistake you do, right? And if
Yeah,
you
I often
confront
hear
that,
it.
oh my gosh, yeah.
I often hear it from my friend, like I ask them to, learn about this knowledge, like financial education, or read these books, or and I often get, oh, I don't have time. I don't know what to react to that. Just knowing what I know now, I would prioritize it so much if I was still
Yes.
in my 20s.
If somebody says that, I usually see the hamster in the hamster wheel with the carrot in front, running, 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 and say, I don't have time. Don't disturb me now. I need to run. I need to run. Right? Sometimes you can get much, much faster to your target, to your goal, or your dream life if you just step out of the hamster wheel, take a break, breathe, look where you are, look where you want to go, look what you've been doing. How well did it work for you? What could you change? And of course, that's change. Change is something people usually don't like. We are animals that function based on habits. Therefore, if you want to have change in one way or another, you have to be open to change your habits. And therefore, you need to stop. You need to, some people believe like being busy, it's very convenient, but it keeps them from thinking deeply, right? It's also like, it sounds good. If I'm busy, that's good, I'm productive, right? But I feel there is good busy and bad busy. And when you're young, you finally get out of university, you're in your 20s, you want to prove to the world that you can perform, right? So a lot of people just run after the carrot. It's like the gates open at the race and you run after your carrot, but you don't look left or right anymore.
Yeah.
That's sometimes take your time.
I
Don't say
w-
I don't have time.
I would say when it really starts with the first awareness is that you need to learn the personal finance knowledge and the skills which you don't learn from school, right? If you're lucky, you learn
Mm,
from your parents, but most of us don't. So
mm,
I think fundamentally starting point is to have the awareness that you need to learn it and
yes.
then take the action to educate yourself. We talk about
Mhm,
financial literacy, and then you see, like what you said, are you in the hamster wheel? Take a step back, your
mhm,
financial GPS, what you need to do. Then you
mhm.
have a holistic understanding of where you are in life and
Yeah,
where you want to go, and then have the action and have the knowledge and the skill set. Then you will be there, right? You will get
correct,
there. But
correct. I
if
mean, if you understand that, and we have some tools, right? We have these exponential growth charts that can show you where you will stand in 10, 20, 30 years from now. And if you type in there one Starbucks coffee per day, that's the stupid example usually, right? Then you will see, oh, that cost me actually 200,000 in 30 years. Do I really want that coffee, right? Suddenly if you understand your daily actions in a much deeper way, you will be much more eager to adapt and to take some action there. And I think financial literacy, or whatever words we use here, it's not rocket science. Nobody has to be afraid of that. It's nothing else than understanding what actions you take today will actually free you up going forward. And you will, by doing it and living it, it will become part of your DNA, of your habits. It's not something that you need to spend a lot of time, or it's painful to do it. It's just something you have to grow into. And that's again why the 20s is very, very important. You actually are in that moment when you manage to do that in your 20s, you're settled for life. It's actually a life hack in itself. Mastering financial literacy early on in life is a gift that you can actually give to yourself by taking the time and studying what matters.
Yeah. So let me just do a little short summarize. If meanwhile you have any questions from like audience side, please leave it in the comment section. We will answer you. And so how to build wealth in your 20s is number one, starting with be aware that financial literacy, you might not have it. You be aware that educate yourself with it. Be aware of time, money, how they works, and all the basics things. Literally, if you want to learn more, just check out our course or read the books that we recommend. Check out Matthias' blog. I also wrote some books. You can also start to educate yourself. So number one is be aware that you need to learn. There are things you might not know. And then secondly is to educate yourself. And then thirdly is, focus on increase your earnings and do not fall into lifestyle inflation, increase your savings rates, and then also educate yourself how to do investing properly, not trading, investing, increase the gap, let money go to work, and then let it roll. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the retirement plan, which should be in step number 3.
And understand the tax codes, and that are the things more or less, right? And in essence, to simplify it, maybe it's like you have like a hydro dam. It's like flowing water. Cash flow is flowing into somewhere. You have to build that wall, and you have
you have to build that wall.
You have to fill it up, right? It's like a battery. And if you feel drained out with energy and so on, money is nothing else than energy. It could be, look at money like energy, your life energy. Fill your own battery and try to figure a way to fill it up to a very, very full that you and your life will be better. I think that's it, right? That's the essence of this. Manage your energy, manage your money.
And in the next week we will talk about how to build up your wealth in your 30s, because 20s we emphasize so much on the time and education, right? We emphasize so much on this. In your 30s, when people start to have families, start to have living with their couples, slightly change a little bit. So if you didn't start in your 20s, it's okay. If you're in your 30s, follow our channel, check out the video. Next week, we'll bring you very interesting content that might be useful for you.
We have one question. What's a common financial mistake people in their 20s make?
Oh, yes.
Well, you covered one part, right? You say people don't understand maybe how important this could be. I think the other thing is, if you're in your 20s, I think try to find your own style. And by that, I mean, mistakes will happen, right? One thing is, people don't listen too much to advice when they are early adults. So it's like when a kid comes to your kitchen and touches the hot stove, touching it is a very different lesson than just hearing mom saying, do not touch the stove, it's hot, right? The same thing with investing. If you put some money at something risky and you lose it, you will remember that for life. Some people are so disencouraged after that happens once that they will never get back to investing anymore and say, investments, that's cursed. I cannot do it, right? So I think one big mistake is to not really take it from a professional point of view, like diversified ETF investing or something like that. But they try to get rich very, very quick, take excessive risks, put everything into one share that later might go down. I remember 20 years ago, Nokia was very big, right? So there's like, and then iPhones came out. There's always like things change, or Blockbuster. Look at Blockbusters with videos and DVDs. Then Netflix came. There's always the next best thing. And if you just put everything on one horse and fall in love with your investing, so we could fill a whole session about behavioral finance here. But I think when you are young, you probably have to find your style. And the mistake there is not to learn quickly. You have to learn. I think everyone has to learn with their money, but maybe try to reduce the amount that you put at risks. You should try some other things than just, if you think it's boring, to stick to ETF, right? But try to reduce the money that is at risk there. Same thing, I'm boring here, right? New kind of investments, anything that you are not sure about, don't put all your things in there. Try it.
Maybe we should talk about one session. We just list out all the mistakes that people make, financial mistake in their 20s. That could be interesting.
That's a very good question. Yeah.
I don't see other questions from the
maybe,
audience.
Debt is another big thing. People go into excessive consumer debt, right? And they do not understand.
In our future sessions, we'll talk about actually how to use that properly to build up wealth. But that lives in the next few sessions. And if you like today's episode, please like this video, follow the channel, spread the word. And if you think one of your friends or your family members would need financial education, even you yourself, your partners, check out our money course, fasttrack.live/money course. There we teach you like literally everything that Matthias has accumulated his lifetime. I implemented myself, just literally everything step by step. So yeah. So awesome. Thank you for being here with us, and hope to see you next session.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye-bye.